it's Jennifer from Belladonna's Botanicals. So tonight I want to talk about I'm going to call this video It's Funnier in Enochian, which is a supernatural reference. But um s- I was struggling a little bit as to where to put this video, but I think it's actually part not only of my occult origin story because there is an earlier part of this, but it's also part of the spiritual awakening series, which I realized as I just finished rewatching the original video I recorded in 2020. So last week, while killing time in between doctor's appointments, I found myself first at a Michael's Arts and Crafts, which was next to a Barnes and Noble, and was drawn to this book, The Complete Enochian Dictionary, a dictionary of the angelic language as revealed to Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly. This is by Donald Laycock. So I admittedly, outside of having read probably an abridged version of the Book of Enoch, know very little about the Enochian language, Enochian magic, and that aspect. I might get there one day. There's a lot of different areas of magic. I can't get through them all at one time. Right now, I'm focusing on pathworking the Goetia and some other stuff. So maybe I'll get to Enochian magic somewhere, but I've also got to get into the cliff off. Although from talking to a friend of mine, I think I'm actually doing the cliff off without knowing I'm doing the cliff off, but that's a whole other story. So why was I drawn to this book? I love to go into, chain bookstores, which I think Barnes and Nobles might be the only one that I know of at this point. 'Cause I think Borders closed years ago. But I'm not gonna lie, I usually like to go into the stores, find whatever the weirdest, like, satanic book they have, and I'll buy it. I'm surprised I don't have, like, 25 copies of the Satanic Bible just because. Although I did pass up, like, some kind of, biography on Anton Sander LaVey. But I picked up this book and a whole bunch of books on, let's see, supernatural hauntings and witchcraft in the general area in which I live now, in the Lehigh Valley. So the Enochian book stood out to me. And I was kind of like, I don't really know anything about Enochian. Then I just started flicking through it. And then I kind of got that little at the back of the head to start looking at, because you know how I've drawn all those weird sigils and sometimes will phonetically write out words. I was wonder if any of those words are Enochian. So I picked up the book, and then I didn't see anything in here on first flip through that really struck out to me as something. But then I started thinking about the story of Am'Ma Miel. I'm going to recap some of that now. So the name Am'Ma Miel, which the way I interpret it and spell is AM''MAMIEL. This is something that was revealed to me almost 10 years ago, long before I was practicing in demonolatry, or working in anything. I mean, I was in a period of being a staunch pragmatic atheist and not practicing anything, even though everything was just still kind of there, just kind of hanging out. So I started looking up kind of breaking it down, because a lot of the words, like some of them are longer, but some of them will break it down like A or AB or AAO, AF, AG, like what each of these, words meant. And I was like, I wonder if I can if I can put something together from in here. In 2020, when I first started kind of working a little bit more with the Mama L, someone had to, at the time, a colleague, no longer friends with, but they said in Hebrew, Am'Ma Miel roughly kind of translates to mother of gods. What I've been able to find in Enochian, and I translated it in two ways, but basically the more accurate one comes out to something akin to the first cursed angel of Luna and Sol, which is the sun and the moon. That's a whole last thing right there. The other ones would come out to something. I broke it down a little further, and that was like fasten, either 9 or accept, in, out of, with, angel. But again, it goes to that first angel thing. So fasten 9, fasten 9 with the first angel of the soul, which is means sun. So something in and of that realm. The fasten part doesn't make sense to me, but going with the more one that seemed to be the first cursed angel of the sun and the moon, which is interesting. So I hadn't really thought of Enochian when I was kind of doing some of the work on this. And I will link to the video below that I did in 2020 at that time when I was path working. I was doing the 9 demonic gatekeepers path working. I finished that a long time ago. I don't really work with that particular path working aesthetic anymore, do my own kind of thing. But sorry, I moved my book over and now I need it back. So Enochian, as I said, this roughly translates the first cursed angel of Luna and Sol, the sun and the moon. In Hebrew, mother of gods. When I first started working with Lilith, and one of the first times when I visited her realm, she was like, well, you've been here before. And I was like, huh? But she had clarified it more to have been the Am'Ma Miel, to having been symbolic mother figure to the fallen angels, and she was of the underworld. So I wrote down some notes. So we manifest aspects of incarnate deities. The human body cannot possibly contain the whole of any deity. Sorry to the one true Satan, Lucifer, Samael, Queen of Hell, and Lilith out there in multiples that I've encountered. So we kind of are, as I put, deific puppets. Through us, they experience and interact by physical means. That's kind of all I'd written in recently about it, because we'll get to the retelling of the backstory. So in 2015, this is actually around 9 years ago to this particular time period. It's just hit the anniversary of it earlier this month. So I had a partial hysterectomy, still have my janky ovaries, but that's about, it. Anyways, medical stuff aside. So I had the surgery, and then I got a glorious flu on top of it. So not only was I dealing with fever dreams, I was dealing with opioid dreams on top of fever dreams. You'll go to some really weird places with that, in that combination, let me tell you. I was on the painkillers from the surgery, so no big whoop. But now this was a point in time in my life. This was 5 years before actually probably about 4 years before I even started coming back into my practice, because I'd gotten away from it for so long. My ex-husband was a very pragmatic atheist, and I became a very pragmatic atheist and just pushed all that crap down and away. It kind of still was there, though. You can ignore it, but it's there. A lot of it came to me, it came through dreams and like precog stuff like that. So I had this dream, and I remember it so vividly, which is interesting considering the combination of the fever, flu, and surgical painkillers. But I was taken down to the underworld, and I still could kind of see this like platform that kind of goes down, and there's sort of like the river with like the boats, probably like something akin to the river Styx from mythology. But what was revealed to me at the time, now mind you, I had never really at this point in time worked with the demonic divine, dark goddesses, or anything like that. I had been, even in my earlier dabblings of witchcraft, I had been pretty non-denominational and I didn't have a lot of interest in working with the spirit world, with working with deity and gods and goddesses because, hey, religious trauma is a thing, and I was mad at God for a very long time. So, what was revealed to me, I didn't know the name Am'Ma Miel at the time, I don't think. That was something that was revealed to me through working with Lilith in 2020, which would have been like 5 years after I'd had the surgery and this experience. So I dreamt of this, um, and it was revealed to me that I was like a ruling class demon, and I was like, "Well, I didn't know demons had ruling classes, but okay, this is weird." Um, so I'd have a dream, and I have a history of weird dreams. Cataloged it up in there with some of my history of weird shit Jen's dreamt, because my friends all know if I come to, "Oh my god, you have to hear about this dream," they're like, "Let me grab a drink and sit down. This is gonna we know what this is going to entail. This is gonna be a whole ass thing and very weird." And were we in it? And dear God, what were we doing? Um, anyways, so the different things have been revealed to me over time because I was working with Lilith and really trying to kind of understand this. So having had that context, and what's interesting is that this thing with the Enochian, like it was one of those weird synchronicities where it was like literally like the exact, I picked it up on like the anniversary of my hysterectomy, um it wasn't until like I got home and was flipping through it that I kind of started putting the pieces together as to what that meant. I was like, holy crap. But so what, I was just looking at some notes I jotted down from rewatching the video because everything in it. But what it was revealed through my workings with Lilith 4 years ago was that this Am'Ma Miel is she's like there's an aspect of her that incarnated through me. I don't know if this is necessarily, I don't know if it's necessarily like a past life incarnation because I've always had very crystal clear past life visions and memories and things like that since I was a small child. So this is something different. So she, through me in this incarnation, is to be the mother of the newly awakened. That I'm supposed to be a voice and leader to help people through um, their spiritual awakenings and enlightenments. Funny that I am doing a series on spiritual awakening. It's all starting to make sense now. So, because I started doing this series a couple months ago, a month or two ago, maybe, because it was something the spirits revealed to me that I needed to do because I feel like I got away from some of that up until like the past year or so, maybe even sooner. Um, but the thing that stuck out for me, a quote that from the video was, "Be prepared to lose everything in order to move forward." Holy effing bleepity bleepity bleeps. That was some truth there because that's was what I went through for the past 2 years of losing everything, relationships. I moved away from my home of 25 years, almost 25 years. I left behind my friends there, and in order to move forward, I had to be prepared to lose everything in order for those things. Now I'm finally moving forward in the right direction for once. And even in the past, it's only been 3 months since I moved. And it feels like a lifetime. Like my when I think back to my time in Philadelphia, it feels like a fever dream. It feels like some kind of weird fact-finding mission, and, I was like some MK Ultra, operative or something, and, now I'm back at home base. But it was an interesting, I like I'm fascinated, and I like when synchronicities like this kind of like line up. What and it's the universe's way of saying, pay attention. When you get drawn to a random book in a bookstore, when you're killing time between a dermatology appointment and a mammogram, pick it up because there's a reason you were drawn to that. Maybe you don't need to buy it, but there might be, you might flip open to a page and go, oh, okay, well, cool. There was the answer I was looking for. Here's something I need to do. So, and in that, now having watched that last video that I recorded 3.5 years ago, maybe at this point, now that one thing, the be prepared to lose everything in order to move forward, mind blown, you know? I had the answer to the problem 3.5 years ago, apparently forgot it, but still managed to work my way through it in the most ass backwards and painful way possible. But that's the message here. Be prepared to lose everything in order to move forward. It's hard as, but it's so worth it. So now I have in my own moving forward is that now I have this new information to work with. I don't know a whole lot about Enochian, but I know what to do. So I might look into that a little more because I got the whisper, the little push to do so, the reason to. I didn't wake up one day and thought, I think I'm gonna start working with Enochian magic today. That's not how it worked. But here we are. So yeah. So one of the things I wanted to, as I'm wrapping up here, is just to give an understanding, because this is something I see a lot. I kind of joked about it earlier. Is there's a lot of people that don't have a good understanding of how like an incarnate deity works through you. Um, so say, I have an incarnate aspect of Hecate. I am not the incarnation of Hecate fully 100%. No one is. And that's the thing. You may have these incarnate aspects of spirit, of deity, of, Am'Ma Miel wasn't, Hecate or Lilith or Lucifer or Aphrodite or anything like that. You can have incarnate aspects of spirits and entities that are very different. I find it a little sus that people always go to the name brand ones like, I'm the one true Lucifer. No, you're not. Sorry. Can't tell you how many times I've had arguments. I'm like, if you were the one true Lucifer, you probably wouldn't be arguing with me in the YouTube comment section. But I digress. And religious psychosis or spiritual psychosis is a topic for another day. I actually may have covered it already, but yeah. So and to kind of address one little thing, because I saw a comment come in on an old video. Have you considered that you might just be mentally ill or crazy? Well, no shit, Sherlock. Obviously, you know, there is, and I think the people, for the most part, that can have very high levels of discernment when it comes to what's real, what's not, spiritual experience, spiritual psychosis versus that is I know what's real. I am firmly rooted in reality. I can tell you that because there's been times when I haven't been. When you have a psychotic break, when you have a dissociative episode, when you are triggered and have an out of the body experience there because you've dissociated so hard, you've landed in a party in the summer of 2000, and you're not in your physical space right here and now. I can discern when I am communicating with the spirit versus, you know, I'm high as fuck and, just whatever. Or I'm having a psychotic break because you know what had happened if I was having a psychotic break or dissociative episode, I would not remember any of this. I couldn't tell you the things that were conveyed to me when if I was having a psychotic episode. That's gone. The you that you are right now when you're in that state is gone. So I have a highly attuned level of discernment when it comes to understanding what is reality, what is mental illness, and what is spirituality. And if your default is bitch be crazy, and don't get me wrong, some people are. Um, I just always find it a little sus when people like have to go shit up comments on things and be like, um, I wish I had the kind of time, not for nothing. I wish I had the kind of time where I could just go, spend time leaving crappy comments on people's videos on YouTube. That must be nice to have that kind of free time because I sure as shit don't. Not gonna lie. I don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of free time. So, and if I do have free time, I spend it on something way more important than like shutting up, YouTube comments on people's videos I don't like. Anyways, pissing and moaning, piss and vinegar aside. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to make this video to give you an update on this process. I kind of haven't made it. I was like, well, I haven't made any videos for the Spiritual Awakening series in a little bit, and now I just recorded 3 tonight. One, two, this is the third one. I recorded another video earlier, but that wasn't about the Spiritual Awakening stuff. So, anyways, I'm really excited about this series. I have so many more videos on here. This wasn't even a video I was planning, but it sort of kind of fit there. So, anyways, thank you for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, notifications, follow us on social media, or the linkies are below, and sign up for our e-newsletter so you know what's going on, see our videos, all that, because algorithms suck. And they're really great at showing you things you did not like, subscribe, or select notifications for. Anywho, love you all. Until next time.